Donc, bienvenue tout le monde à notre présentation Pro Tools 11 chez CEV ici. Je vous remercie d'être venus en grand nombre. On est plutôt impressionnés. C'est le fun de voir ça. Donc, aujourd'hui, on a un gros programme pour vous. On va vous présenter la dernière mouture de Pro Tools 11 qui est disponible depuis la fin juin. Je vais laisser Robert rentrer dans les détails. Je vais vous faire une petite introduction de l'équipe qui est ici de CEV et de Avid. Donc, je me présente, moi, pour ceux qui ne me connaissent pas, je m'appelle Hugo Chevrette, c'est moi votre conseiller en solutions audio professionnelles. Je travaille chez CEV depuis maintenant 10 ans. La plupart d'entre vous me connaissent. Ceux qui ne me connaissent pas, vous pouvez venir me voir à la fin de la présentation. Ça va me faire plaisir de me présenter. On a Suzy Blanchette que je vais demander de venir en avant parce que c'est grâce à elle un peu que tout fonctionne bien aujourd'hui. Pour ceux qui ne la connaissent pas, je pense qu'elle est encore plus connue que moi. Suzy, c'est notre chef de produits audio professionnel, donc c'est la chef technicienne ici. Elle est aussi ACSR, donc certifiée Avid. Elle travaille chez CEV depuis 14 ans. Il y a mon président aussi, notre président Jean Meunier qui est à l'arrière. Je ne sais pas si tu veux venir en avant. Donc, CEV, nous sommes en affaires depuis 1974. C'est bien ça, Jean? Parfait. Donc, président de CEV, Jean Meunier. Je mentionne aussi qu'il y a le Front Créatif de Montréal, anciennement connu sous le nom de Final Cut User Group Montréal, qui sont en train de filmer la présentation et elle va être disponible sur votre site web, c'est ça? Est-ce que vous la streamez en temps réel? Ah! Excellent. Donc, la présentation va être disponible sur leur site web après. Je mentionne aussi qu'on a une autre présentation après qui va être de Media Composer 7 et Interplay. Je sais qu'il y en a beaucoup d'entre vous qui risquent de rester. Ceux qui s'intéressent, je pense qu'il reste des places. Et après la présentation, je vais être disponible en arrière. Les gens d'Avid vont être disponibles aussi. Fait à mentionner, on a notre salle de démonstration en bas qui est fonctionnelle, ceux qui voudraient voir la système 5MC en action. Les personnes qui sont ici de chez Avid, on a Robert Miller, que vous connaissez peut-être déjà, il a donné certaines présentations ici chez CEV. Son titre, je vais le dire en anglais, c'est un Pro Audio Application Specialist. En fait, c'est une des personnes qui font du support et des démonstrations pour les logiciels d'Avid Audio. Il travaille chez DigiDesign Avid depuis 19 ans, 19 years. Et mon représentant, John Whitcore, qui est juste là. Lui, il est chez Avid depuis 20 ans. C'est le Eastern Regional Manager for US and Canada. Donc, si vous avez des questions par la suite de la présentation, quoi que ce soit, Suzy, Hugo, John ou Robert vont pouvoir répondre à vos questions. Donc, je vais laisser Robert commencer. You had something to say?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah, first, I just want to thank everybody for taking time out of your day and coming down and spending some time with us. I want to thank Jean and Linda and Hugo and Susie and the whole CEV team for hosting us as well and kind of putting this event together. But this has been a really exciting year for Avid Pro Tools 11, which Robert's going to go through. Last week, we also introduced a brand new control surface series called the S6 series at the IBC show in Amsterdam, and we are going to be talking about that a little bit after Robert's presentation. Robert has a deck, and we'll kind of walk you through that, and for anybody that wants to stick around and is interested. So without further ado, I guess we'll turn it over to Mr. Robert Miller, and here we go.
Thank you. I don't think I need that one. Is this one here muted? 1, 2, there we go. So thank you very much and welcome. Thanks to everybody at CEV. Just out of curiosity, how many folks here are using Pro Tools? Show of hands, Pro Tools HD? Wow, everybody, okay, almost everyone. And anyone using Pro Tools 11 as of yet? No, oh, okay, a couple. So anyway, we're going to take you through some of this, and it's been a little while, and we've been waiting for some of the plugins to come along, but you know, they're moving. So, you know, over the last, you know, several years, you know, we've been very busy, you know, at Avid Audio. We introduced Pro Tools 9, where we, you know, unlinked the software from the hardware. We introduced a new native solution based on the tremendous power that the host now has. We introduced a new series of IOs. These things, you know, have been winning all kinds of listening tests, really excellent state-of-the-art IO. And then, of course, Pro Tools 10. most folks here probably are using Pro Tools 10, I would imagine, maybe a few not, but a lot of really tremendous features in there. And with Pro Tools 10, we also had the HDX, our next generation hardware, which is designed to be a hybrid type of solution, to make the best of the DSP chips along with the power of the host. And then, of course, we have a new plugin format, and now there are really over 100 AAX 64-bit plugins. We had to really move to the new plugin format. And so what we're going to be talking about today is Pro Tools 11. So what is it about Pro Tools 11? Well, okay, you saw this before. It's the new standard. It's the old standard, but it's the new standard again. Pro Tools, this is kind of the rig that we're using here today. So I'm using my MacBook Pro Retina. I have an Omni interface and the HD native Thunderbolt box. 16 gig of RAM in the in the laptop, and I don't have both of the Artist series here. I'm just using the Control, and essentially we can now use third-party third-party peripherals or Avid peripherals, because what's really cool about Pro Tools 11 is that the Avid video engine is built in. So what we're going to be taking you through here is a little bit of a spot demo that was done by August Bradley. It was shot in Red. Everything was edited in Media Composer. And then we asked a sound designer, a composer, to do all of the audio. So this is the material that we're going to be working for. It's for this hybrid car, the Fisker, let's just talk about, 64-bit architecture. Essentially, we have increased memory space. So this has been the big limitation. We would only able to see 4 gigabytes of RAM. Now, as much RAM as you put in your system, you're good to go. This allows for much larger sessions, because you could actually get to a point where you'd be running out of RAM on a large session. It also allows folks that are working with virtual instruments. Anybody using lots of virtual instruments right now? A few hands. What? So you're going to see some pretty amazing performance here in this session. Yeah, it goes beyond that too, because the 64-bit operating systems really are we've optimized our engines to work with all of the multi-processors that are working there now. So we have much better performance. So, essentially what this means is, larger sessions and increased, performance in all of them. So again, virtual instruments, things that eat up, many, many gigabytes with the samples that are there. Things like Superior Drummer, Vienna String Ensemble can all play inside of here. Also, the Avid video engine. So basically what we did is we took the Media Composer video engine, and it's now built into Pro Tools. So anything, I could sit with some exceptions, anything that a Media Composer can play, Pro Tools can play. We can play back multiple video tracks. The only exceptions and caveats are that we can't play back any real-time effects yet. So at first shipment here, we're just being able to play back. So any third type of plugin that you have in a Media Composer, or any kind of motion adapter that would be happening, Pro Tools can't play that back. But by doing a render of those things, you'll be able to play them back. So let's take a look here. And the audio engine. So again, I was saying, this is really, we can now see the percentage of each one of the cores that are being used, as well as, of course, we introduced the disk cache in Pro Tools 10. The other thing that's interesting here is we have dynamic plug-in processing. So what this means is that currently, in Pro Tools 10, which most of you guys are on, if we use a plugin, if we instantiate a plugin, it reserves all of the horsepower it needs for that plugin. With what dynamic plugin processing does is it allows us to only use it when it needs it. So it looks ahead in the session and says, oh, guess what? I'm going to need this reverb here that I only need to use for this section, and now it basically engages it. So it really maximizes the use of the host computer. Third-party developers, a lot of these folks are all on board here, and even more since this deck was made. You know, and I guess the big one was Waves as of last week. You know, and that finally released their AAX, and I think that some of the other ones are coming on through the fall here. So you can see a tremendous amount of support already for the 64-bit, you know, AAX plugins. So let's get to maybe switching over here a little bit. We'll let this get through its animation. There we go. And take a look at, just play you a little bit of what's going on here. So I'm going to tab over to Pro Tools. And let's just hit play and make sure our level's okay. There we go.
Rock star or jet set exec? Rock and roll jet set exec? No problem. A second home in Aspen or Saint-Tropez? Both? Done. Now, a nice girlfriend that mom will love or a bad girl? Well, nice, but with an adventurous streak. You're not a man accustomed to compromise, I see. Which brings me to the matter of your automobile. One must ride in style. Fisker Karma. Absolutely not. No associate of mine will drive a hybrid that gets 50 gas-free miles.
Okay, so you get the idea. It goes on and on. You can see there's quite a bit of stuff going on in this session. Let me just, you know, kind of show you here. I have a lot of virtual instruments. Here's the new Element, you know, virtual instrument from Waves. So this is, you know, I couldn't have shown you this a week ago. I have Superior Drummer from Tune Tracks. This one is, it's going to take a second here to bring it up with the graphic. Tremendous, you know, virtual instrument. I've got Vienna string ensemble, or Vienna instruments, not the string ensemble. I've got an Oberheim from Arturia. I have multiple instances of Hybrid, which is, you know, one from the Air group. I've got Boom, you know, which is kind of a beatbox. I have Vacuum, which is, and now there's new Vacuum 2. I have, you know, probably, you know, 10 instances of Expand. You know, just anyone who's been working with, you know, the limitations of virtual instruments knows that, you know, this would choke, you know, with Pro Tools, you know, 10 for this amount of stuff going on. And you can see it's a rather large session. We have a lot of other elements in here in terms of all of the sound design and things like that, and a lot of plugins. Plus, over here, just a tremendous amount of, you know, reverbs that are being run. You know, Reverb 1, just a tremendous amount of stuff going on. And we're probably running, if we just take a look here at our playback engine, we're running this at 256 sample buffer. And I can run it down, but sometimes, you know, I get a little bit of an issue every now and then, so I keep it up there for safety's sake. So let's just take a look here. Here's the Avid video engine, and I can make a selection here. And what we've done now with this is we've enabled this, you know, to, I can just say loop. So this is going to just loop.
Rockstar or...
So it's, I don't know if you, how many people here use video satellite or know about video satellite, okay? So essentially what that was a technology where we can synchronize a Media Composer and Pro Tools, as well as multiple, you know, Pro Tools systems. So if you tried to loop with a video satellite, it would stall and wait for a second. What we've done now, you could think of this as video satellite, you know, happening all on the same computer, because it's the Avid video engine. So all of that synchronization is happening, but we can now loop, you know, for up to, I think we take a selection of maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and we can loop seamlessly, you know, inside of that. So this is really nice for those folks who might be doing some ADR and really wanting to cut it, you know, a little bit better. So let's see. In terms of our audio engine, you know, this is the dynamic process right now. This is which one is it? Yeah, bring it down a little bit. So you'll see that we get to a certain point here. You can see the amount of usage that's happening up here, and we'll get to a section where the all of these virtual instruments will kick in, and now you'll see them jumping up, and essentially, this is really the advantage of the dynamic plug-in processing that's happening now. Okay, so the other cool thing that's about here is being able to have the strings. So here we have just like we're seeing our notation, and I'm using bring it up a little bit, yeah. Just a very, very simple big eggs that are playing here. This low frequency one.
People to take care of. Oil, gas industries, they depend on me. I hate clean air.
Very simple, but if you take a look over here, you can see here's all four of these up now, and I'm actually using each one of this. We'll say 1.5 gigabytes, of strings, and I can load up multiple instances of this. If I have, 64 gigabytes of RAM in my computer, a lot of folks use the player right now, which was a 64-bit app to basically host the Vienna Ensemble Pro. Anybody using that? I don't know. Yeah, so this is really fantastic. You don't have to go through that to do it. But some folks who may want to use something like maybe a VST plugin, they could get at it through that as well too. So the other cool thing is drums. We have our tune track.
Yeah, just lost another one.
All being split out.
Fisker Karma, performance and luxury.
So this is from Superior Drummer. This eats up a tremendous amount of samples. I actually have a 2 terabyte drive right now that is completely loaded up with all of the samples from all of these shipping 64-bit AAX plugins. Let's just go back here for a second and take a look at this and see where we're at. So low latency recording. Let's talk about this. Now, what we have now is a system that's really called domain latency switching. So, as you know, with Pro Tools, native system, the larger the buffer that you have set, the more delay from input to output. Now, that's managed very, very well, like with things like the HD native, because we have extremely low latency performance here. But if you're using a an M-Box or another third-party peripheral, if you have your buffer set at 1024, you're going to have a lot of delay in your headphones. So what happens now is, no matter whether you're recording a audio channel or a MIDI channel, every time you go into record, we automatically set it to a 32 sample buffer, which is the lowest possible latency. All of the other plugins run at whatever the buffer is set for, so that really happens. Okay, so here we go. We get a little bit of thing. Dude, we need to have a bounce. We need to have a mix sent out to us. So the cool thing about Pro Tools 11 is really the ability of having offline bounce, and this has been the #1 requested feature for such a long period of time. So the way that works is, if we take a look, we can come back over here to Pro Tools and just go to our here we go. So if we come here to one of our, say, an MX here, we can right-click on this and we can say, bounce the music sub. And what's really cool is, if we want to just send like a music mix, we can also at the same time create a MP3, or if we wanted to add other ones, we could actually then add, other buses. We can add up to 6 other, buses. 16 buses all at the same time, and bounce them simultaneously. So for example, let's just see where I'm here, the music bounce. Yeah, I can bounce all of the music here at faster than real time. So when I say bounce to here, and then I click on the offline bounce, essentially away we go, and it's now going up to, and this is including all of the virtual instruments that are happening at the same time, 6.3 times real time. So this is fantastic. I'm not going to go through the whole thing here. Same type of thing for multi-stems, so if I want to come here and now go to, say my DX and say, let me bounce the DX mono, and then I can go and add this, and I can get the DX sub, all of these other ones all simultaneously, and have all of these be sent. So my deliverables can now be delivered in a fraction of the time, And you can re-import them back. In fact, what Pro Tools does is it creates a bounce folder. So now inside of our session folder, we have a bounce folder, and everything defaults into the bounce folder as well at this point. So let's come back and take a look here. We got that. Simultaneously create the MP3. It supports all of the VIs. What it does not support is anything that's coming in from the outside world. So if we were basically feeding in, live instruments from the outside or any other kind of, any kind of external stuff, it can't bounce in real time. And by the way, if you have an HDX system, it will bounce heat as well too. So all of that is done. So the big thing is visual feedback, and people that use our control surfaces, either EUCON or the, System 5 MC, had a tremendous amount of visual feedback that was coming. So back to them from the surface. So now what we are being able to do with Pro Tools, 11 is we've changed, and you can see, here's the difference between the two types of metering. We added 17 different types of metering scales, and we gave it 30% extension as well as giving you a gain reduction along the side of the meter as well. So the other thing that we added was Retina graphics. So this is really fantastic, and we needed to do this basically so we could support the new AAX formats and really have a vector-based, graphic system. So if we take a look, here's a kind of a comparison. I don't know if you can see this too easily here, but it's much clearer, with the Retina and over the standard, based. So here are these 17 different scales, and we did add, a lot of people complained that they wanted the classic Pro Tools, so we put that back in there. Sample peak, linear, VU, digital PPM, K scales. We added scales that would support the venu, product line, because those meters are a little bit different. And PPM digital is essentially what the System 5 uses, so we added that one as well. Without Pro Tools HD, these are you only get these ones right here, the Sample Peak Classic, and also we have the ability of adjusting all of the ballistics, which are how fast it decays. We can see a separate master meter output, and we also added a little meter here up in this section here, where you can see your master output, on the top of the menu bar. Gain reduction metering, as I said, what's really cool about this is that we not only show you just the compressor, but we can show you all of the gain reduction that happens, whether you're using compressors, expanders, and limiters. If we have multiple of them, you can see that all there. It's really fantastic to have that information all right on the control surface. And what's really cool, as we'll see a little bit later on, all of that information is now being EUCONized and being sent out, and will be able to be seen over the S6 as well. We added a few power mixing commands so that if you want to turn off all of your sends, all of your sends, all of your plugins, all at the same time, dynamics, just mute all of the reverbs or bypass all of the reverbs. This is very helpful, and that you can kind of see how fast or how much you've messed up your mix, you know. And the other thing is we can right-click on a state plate and get to all of the plugins, so we don't have to open up the plugin and then go into all of the settings, which is, you know, all of these things were added from the Pro Tools Idea Scale. I'm not sure if anybody knows about this website. It's really fantastic. If you want to see improvements, if you go to protoolsideascale.com, you can come up with an idea and put it in there. And essentially what happens is, you know, all of the engineers and the developers and product marketing look at that. And when people vote on those ideas and they kind of rise to the top, those are the things that we start to implement. So EUCON 3.0 is also in here. We basically rewrote EUCON from the ground up. It's all 64-bit. It has, you know, it's considerably faster. And we added the soft keys, you know, for those metering preferences as well. Workspace, we now have a brand new Workspace that's built in here, and it's much faster. I can kind of come over and show you the Workspace here. You know, and if we bring up our Workspace and kind of search for a whoosh, you'll see, boom. Look at how fast that is. I don't know if anybody's been... Most people don't use the Workspace prior to Pro Tools because it's just so slow, and everyone uses much more efficient sample searching type of programs. But this is really fantastic, how fast this works now. You'll have a lot of you know, enhancements that happen to the Workspace. Okay, so Pro Tools HDX. You know, of course, you've all heard about this. Anybody using HDX systems yet? You know, okay, great. Of course, we still have, you know, Exchange happening. You're going to need to go to an HDX or an HD native to use Pro Tools 11. The TDM systems will not work. We're going to talk a little bit about that at the end. Yeah, we have an HDX system in the back. It's Hugo's system back there. It really gives you very low latency recording. Also, satellite technology, we now go up to 12 systems, and you might think, why would you want to synchronize 12 systems? Well, on large features, they do. They can have actually even more than 12 systems. They're no longer charging for these satellite options. We used to charge $795 to link two Pro Tools systems together, or $295 to just link a second LE system to take the load off of the video playback. But you don't even have to worry with it now with the Avid video engine being built into there. And of course, video satellite is now built in. It's a free option as well. You have to pay $9.99 just to link a media composer together. You can still do that. The offline bounce we talked about, being able to bounce all of these. Now the performance will vary, but I have a session that's up here with like a radio type of program, and I can get actually over 100 times real time. In terms of how fast it bounces. And we can also bounce to QuickTime, which means that if I need a deliverable and I want to transcode this to, say, a Sorensen and then give my 5.1 mix and have it built into a QuickTime or another codec, I can actually export this. And so any codec that, well, I shouldn't say that, any codec. There are a few AMA type things that we don't support yet, but eventually anything that a media composer will play back, any codec that a media composer will play back, we can actually transcode to as well. So co-installation, this is really a cool one, especially for those maybe who want to really hold on to a few of their plugins, because Pro Tools 11 and Pro Tools 10.3.6, which is now 10.3.7, can be co-installed on the same computer, and we don't have to, they'll both run, because Pro Tools 11 is now a new type of installer, and so all of the places where all of the files live, are in different places, and we can run either, and it's the same file format. So what that means is that, if you have a session of Pro Tools 11, you don't have to save it as a Pro Tools 10, or if you have a Pro Tools 10, it'll just open up and you can work on it in Pro Tools 11, and then you can go back to Pro Tools 10 again. So they're completely compatible, Pro Tools 10 and a Pro Tools 11. So if you had some plugins that you didn't have, an AAX version of, and you wanted to use your RTask plugin, you could open the session up, do that bounce, in real time, and then bring it back in, which would be great. So this is the new type of installer. Compatibility, 10.8.3. We recommend 16 gigabytes of RAM. We'd like to see, Windows, 7 or 8 there as well too, and where we put all of the settings, are kind of moved into a little bit more understandable, hierarchy in terms of all the I/O settings, the plugin maps, plugin settings, and session templates. Hardware compatibility. It's what you're seeing here, all of the M-Box, the 003, the 11 rack, the new Fast Track and Solos, the HDX, HD Native, and the HD peripherals. All of the control surfaces, the icon control surfaces, the Avid ones, and the C24 are all compatible, and the System 5 MC, the MC Pro. What is not officially supported, which means it's untested, but we know that they work, are the blue interfaces, which means anybody that's using a third-party interface, we're not going to break that or anything like that. The Digi 002 family, the M-Box 2 family, HUI and hypercontrol from the M-Audio. What we know will not work and is just not 64-bit compatible is the Pro Control, the first generation Control 24, not the C24, the original Sync IO, the blue one, and the TDM cards will not work. And we have a very, very attractive, exchange program to get into, HDX if you need the DSP. So this is kind of U.S. pricing on this, what the upgrade pricing was. Also, the complete production toolkit no longer exists. And there's a little bit of controversy about this, but we really wanted the price to be of entry to be at least a Pro Tools HD native system, and anybody who has a complete production toolkit can kind of get grandfathered into a true Pro Tools HD license. And in some ways, it's even better because a Pro Tools HD license will work on HD hardware, whereas a Pro Tools Complete Production Toolkit will not work on HD hardware. So that's what's really nice about that. So again, 64-bit architecture, faster than real-time bounce. It's really just tremendous, tremendous improvement. And again, the plugins are coming. I know a lot of folks. We have betas of a lot of the people like Audio Ease, and Altiverb and stuff like that. And they're very close to being released. I know UA is another one, and we're expecting those probably near the end of the year type of thing. But that's kind of it. When you take a look at this all put together. It's a tremendous, tremendous package. So what I'm going to do is actually kind of hold this because I know there's going to be a lot of questions and then go into the S6 type of thing.